Oh, bodies, dead bodies, yes. Or as we like to call them, frozen snacks. And yes, I would eat someone if that was the last resort. As someone in the nature world, I don't like trash because we humans have junked up the planet. But as I just said there, trash is your friend. Those feathers you can make arrows out of, you can use them for kindling, and there's gonna be some good meat in that dodo. Hey, I'm Kinga Philipps. I am a survival expert and an outdoors person, and I prefer being outside to being inside. So today I get to rank the video games that I have spoken to before. So it's gonna be a little bit of nostalgia, pretty fun. All of these survival games were so cool, so unique, so different. I mean, I love jungles, I love deserts, I love deserted islands. I love them all. So we'll see where my heart is when I get to look at them. Right, Green Hell is fun because I love jungles. Oh, I remember this. I remember the guy like climbing up this rope. You know, that's pretty aggressive, climbing up a rope like that in the middle of nowhere. If you hurt yourself, you're definitely gonna be in dire straits. I believe there were two of them here. He's there with somebody else. I recall that. And I believe she was an anthropologist. I was like, oh, woman after my own heart. Wow, canned goods, that's great. Oh, this was the one with like the mega like 20-story structure that they have, like this tent with like 30 rooms and panels. I do remember this. Got a machete, that's good. I mean, guy's probably got a chainsaw with everything he has there. Maybe even an electric chainsaw, you can just plug it in, charge it. It's got a Tesla, it's plugged in right next to his Tesla. All right, rain in the jungle. Yeah, rain in the jungle makes things difficult because it makes everything wet. Starting fires is difficult, but this guy, you know, probably has gasoline and 37 lighters. So he's good. But yeah, you want to shelter from that rain. Those leaves are great. You can use them as sun protection, make a hat out of them. You can also use them as an umbrella for rain. Jungles are super cool environments, one of my favorites, but you do have to be aware that there's a lot there that can kill you. He is gathering stuff to make a fire. Again, primitive fire making looks great, but hey, you probably got a lighter in one of those trunks over there. So he's gonna light himself a fire, keep himself warm, maybe purify some water. He's probably got a faucet in there. This guy does not need a small bamboo shelter. He's got the works. I do love this game, but I remember, as you can see in the replay, that I found it hilarious because really the setup that they had was extreme, extreme, extreme. I mean, the rest of us would be out there foraging for sticks to build ourselves a lean-to and looking for a way to purify water. And this guy's like, oh, I'll just turn on my faucet with my Brita water filter. Yeah, this is more my style here. Okay, yeah. Get yourself off the ground, maybe build yourself a bed. I like Green Hell because I love the environment. I think the jungle's a great space. That game makes me laugh because the setup they have, I mean, that canvas tent has like 10 rooms, solar panels, like everything you could ever need. So he's gonna live there very happily for quite some time. I'm thinking that as far as realistic survival, I'm gonna say Green Hell is probably at the top. I like the way that world was built out and everything that they showed you in terms of the survival elements in the jungle. Oh, okay, this was the one with the plane crash, and I love the foreshadowing there with the survival guide. Oh, this one was with little Bobby. I remember this. He disappeared. We never did find out what happened to him. I think a couple people told me later online and I was like, what? Yeah, plane crash. That's definitely one of the main ways to get into the survival situation. There was the creepy entity that took your kid. But you know what I did love about this game is in a plane crash situation, you got a lot of stuff, and stuff is what you want. This guy obviously needs a first aid kit. I would go find that. He's all kinds of bloody. I think this was one of the first games I did, and I was just enthralled by the whole gaming universe because I had really never seen it before. So speaking to this game from a survival standpoint, but also as like a first-time gamer was really cool. But raid the minibar, man. Like, come on, get into that first-class minibar and get yourself some booze. Alcohol, by the way, good for cleaning wounds. Also drinking. Yeah, this environment was really cool. You've got a pine forest forest there, so you've got a lot of trees to use. Fire building skills, definitely want to get on that right away. I think assessing the situation and hygiene would be a first priority there since he's covered in blood. I love the looks on my face. Like, I have a very expressive face, and I was very wowed by this game and kind of his felling of trees right off the bat there. Cool, shelter. That's definitely one of the first things that you're gonna need to do. Again, you're in a survival situation, whether it's a plane crash or whatnot. Oh, look at that. There's a nice little debris hut, lean-to style shelter. Great. Guy's got his lighter. That's golden. You mega bonus in a survival situation, as opposed to trying to really do the primitive fire making, which I continuously say looks super cool when Bear Grylls is doing it. Not super cool when you're out there for hours with blisters on your hand trying to get it done. I'm a big fan of the forest. I like the intro with the plane crash. I mean, that would definitely be a very disastrous way of getting into a situation, but I just remember still wondering where little Bobby is. Forest was one of my favorites because the nostalgia really kicks in because I think it was the first one I did. I would say that the forest is probably right below that, mostly because that environment is one where I think a lot of survival situations would happen for people, and there was a lot to speak to in that. Of course, there's like the creepy zombies in that one. Not realistic, although in today's world, you don't know. Ooh, Stranded Deep I like because I love the ocean. And island survival. When I was a kid, I used to literally fantasize about being Tom Hanks in Castaway. Like, it was my dream to be stranded on a deserted island. So this game really, it speaks to my heart. And of course, a plane crash. Yep, good way to get in there. Usually, plane or boat is gonna be the most likely way that you're gonna end up on a deserted island. Plane crashed, he is swimming through debris. I mean, you're already ahead of the game that you survived the plane crash. There you go. You might want to grab that life ring, float yourself to a gorgeous deserted island. Home sweet home. There it is. Got some palm trees there, maybe some coconuts for hydration, palm trees for shade. You want to keep that raft with you too. That'll be great. You can catch water in that. If you decide you need to leave, you can do that in your raft. Sourcing food on a deserted island should be fairly easy, of course, depending where you are, how big the island is, several factors. Water's gonna be the real contingent there that's either gonna work or not. He is finding things. Crabs, great. Yes, eat them. Rocks, collect yourself some rocks. A deserted island's really nice too because you have a beach. You can set up a big SOS, light that on fire, build it out of rocks. You can make a water still from that tarp that you have there. If you were to use the material from the raft, you could use that for fire, for a water still as well. Looks like he's going to build himself a fire, maybe cook himself some crab. Yum, delicious. Yeah, Michelin rated meal right there. Actually, it's making me hungry. He could make himself a spear himself some fish. You gotta be careful where you step. There's some venomous critters there. Not everything is edible in some of these tropical places, but you do have a lot of options. He's hunting crab, all right. Not a lot of meat on a crab, but it's protein, some sustenance. Water is gonna be the big factor because this does not look like a very big island, so there's probably not a water source. Oh, look at that. He made himself a multi-pronged spear. Terrific. Catch some fish. Great. Awesome. Nice. Okay. Oh, look at that. I just said water still. Love it. That's a good survival game. I like Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep is one of my favorites because that was my long childhood dream of being lost on a deserted island. And I just kind of think it'd be fun. I mean, for a while, not for like a really long time, but yeah. I like Stranded Deep a lot. Stranded Deep, I like a lot because I love oceans, and ocean survival is a big one as well. I mean, historically and even to this day, there are people out there floating around in the oceans trying to survive, and that's a very specific space to survive in, so that was really cool, a lot to speak to. So I would put that probably underneath the forest. Ooh, the Long Dark. I actually don't remember which one this is. Let's see, what's happening here? This is, okay, I do remember this. Wow, surviving in the winter is really freaking tough. I mean, you are immediately upon your arrival to this situation faced with a lot of challenges that are against you. The environment is pretty heavy in this space. So the rule of threes, you can survive for 3 minutes without air, for 3 hours without regulating body temperature, for 3 days without water, about 3 weeks without food. And they say when you end up in a survival situation, you need to immediately assess your surroundings, stay calm, but shelter, fire, water are gonna be like your top three. And then you can worry about signaling. You can worry about, everything else. Food, again, worry about that later. But here, number one is gonna be shelter, because 3 hours without regulating your body temperature, hypothermia can actually set in within minutes. And this looks like it's really cold. Hunting for rabbits, definitely not something I would do right off the bat. Also, nailing them with rocks, pretty freaking inefficient. Guy looks like he has some injuries there. He might have taken care of it with a first aid kit because he did have some bandages. Food, you don't need that immediately. I would just not even bother snapping the bunny's neck right now. I would go build myself a shelter, because once night settles in, you're in trouble. Although there's a refrigerator, so looks like he's already got shelter. So maybe he got stranded in an area where there is a roof over his head. That's nice. Dog food, right? In a pinch, you're not picky. You'll eat anything you possibly can. Okay, so bodies, dead bodies, yes. Or as we like to call them, frozen snacks. Well, we've definitely talked about cannibalism. I know everyone in Gamology really enjoyed my take on that. And yes, I would eat someone if that was the last resort. Last resort, but sure. Start with the glutes. Chew well. Just maybe avoid the brain, which is right there by my head. Don't want to eat that. All right. Oh, he's going to build himself a snare. Again, snares are such a great way to basically have these little mechanisms do the work for you. Fishing, great way to do it. If you've got fishing hooks, that's terrific. That's your main source of protein. Fish, that's always a nice thing. He's probably gonna go ice fishing. So he's breaking the ice. It's like he's got an ice fishing shack. This is great. If you can manage to get yourself into a survival situation in a place where you've got 4 walls and a roof, a nice little salmon there. Oh, roast salmon. That sounds delicious. I love that some of these people in survival situations actually eat better than I do on the daily basis. I think I've had like a couple chips today and this guy's like, salmon. Well, a wolf attacking you, that doesn't really happen. Aurora borealis, that's beautiful. Ooh, puncture wounds, you don't want that. Animal bites can get infected real fast. You actually don't even want to close those up. You want to just let them breathe. Okay, so he's using a flare to fight off a wolf. I have limited experience in fighting wolves with flares, but I'd say yes, that would work. Antiseptic for a bite. If he's got painkillers, wow, look at you. That's great. I always travel with an antibiotic in case I have an issue on the road. If you have some kind of a bite or a wound, or God forbid, a compound fracture, you definitely want to take some antibiotics if you were lucky enough to have them. Looks like we died. I like the long dark a lot. It's a good game. I think surviving in that kind of environment is really tough. If you get lost somewhere where there's snow on the ground, there are snow shelters you can make. There's ways to source food. It's one of the more difficult survival environments out there. I like that because, again, that's yet another environment. We had wintertime survival there, which there's a lot to speak to because that is a really harsh environment. That is not one I would want to be trying to survive in. But that one was pretty realistic in terms of being out in the wilderness at night, having to build a shelter, maybe finding a shelter. So I would put that one under Stranded Deep. Ooh, Ark Survival Evolved. This is a fun little refresher on all these games that I've done. I kind of feel like they've all just blended together in my head. Okay, so this guy, at least he's not naked. He's wearing his boxer briefs. Definitely he is buff. Doesn't always help you. Mental state, that is what I'm talking about there. That is my mental state. Ooh, gross, that water, you do not want to drink that. You want to boil your water for at least 10 minutes, but that water just looks gross. If you can find running water, that's greatly preferable. Oh yes, this is another one where it kind of looks like Land Before Time or futuristic. That's some kind of a prehistoric armadillo looking thing, but maybe edible. I'd give it a go. If I was hungry, I'd eat them. Just don't let him get you first. Again, those puncture wounds, ew, I think he did get you. Wow, are you gonna have to fight these dinosaurs for water? I do always say follow animal trails to be able to find water. I guess following dinosaur trails falls underneath that umbrella of wildlife that you might encounter on our planet or others. Okay, maybe he's breaking apart the stone to make himself some more tools there. He's gonna build himself a fire. Do fires keep dinosaurs away? Gotta be honest, I don't know. But still, a fire is a great thing for your mental sanity. And, maybe he wants to boil himself those briefs and be hygienic. It's always a good thing. Okay, he's got tools, he's got berries, he's got all kinds of things. Hopefully he knows what those berries are and he isn't just picking them randomly, because that could end very badly for our muscular friend with abs of steel. Now he's going after some kind of a bird here that looks like a dodo. Oh, right. Okay. So, okay, you're gonna kill the dodo. Well, if they weren't extinct before, they are now. That was the last dodo and you just killed him. However, those feathers you can make arrows out of. You can use them for kindling, and there's gonna be some good meat in that dodo. Oh, poor little thing. Big birds too, real big. Lots of meat, lots of meat. Cattails, we love cattails. Survivalist's dream. You can use those for kindling. You can eat the young shoots. You can use the plants for fiber, all kinds of uses. Oh, I do recall this. This was very weird. He found himself a lady friend. That was interesting. That was an interesting game. That was another one that is kind of set in the future, in the past. It's really hard to tell with all those dinosaurs. Brings up a lot of questions. Are dinosaurs edible? Do dinosaurs fear fire? I don't know. Can't answer that. That one was kind of all over the place in terms of it's realistic but not realistic. Really kind of brings us into the space of, are we on another planet? Are we in prehistory? So I would maybe put that one at the bottom for now. Ooh, Subnautica. I remember this one kind of. From what I recall, it's kind of futuristic, which are always interesting, you know? Like, I don't want to always be surviving on my planet. I want to go somewhere else and survive. It's a really fancy underwater shelter space there. Real pretty. Yeah, if you could stay in that, you could stay in that for a while. But oh no, fire in closed spaces. That's bad. Smoke inhalation, heat, that's gonna get you. There's gonna be no surviving if you're already dead. Get out of there. I would leave immediately. Exit this space. Yeah, you would probably already be dead from smoke inhalation, but quickly you can, ooh, look at that. Is that a spotted eagle ray of another planet? I'm not sure. Oh, a Navanax, it's a predatory sea slug. Those are pretty. Gorgeous water. I could spend some time there. Oh yeah, kelp. Kelp is a good source of iodine. Sea plants like this are something that you can eat. Although, again, digestion requires water, and water is something you're really going to want to conserve if you are in an ocean environment like this trying to survive. This guy's got some futuristic gadgets that he's able to identify. The glowing seaweed. I mean, I'm cautious with plants on my planet. I don't know that I would eat foreign plants. Probably grow a tail or something, which wouldn't really be the worst thing, but I'm sure worse things can happen. Yeah, seaweed is delicious. Ooh, he's found himself a little island environment that he can get to with all kinds of unusual plants and mushrooms and creatures that look kind of sort of like crabs. I mean, given the choice between floating around in a raft or being on an island, definitely take the island. Got a lot more of a chance of surviving and being found there than you are on the wide open sea. All right, Subnautica, that was a good game. I like that one. Futuristic, but you never know when you're gonna have to survive on a, future planet. I would put it next to The Long Dark, because even though it's a foreign environment, it's a world that's not ours, it still had some cool elements that I could speak to in terms of surviving on a deserted island or as a castaway out at sea. Ooh, Raft. This is another ocean going. I think this is the one where he built the world's most complicated raft. Oh, look at me. I'm super excited because I'm in the ocean and that's my favorite place to be. Ooh, I remember there was a great white shark here. Yeah. So this guy is on a raft in the ocean. This is a tough survival situation. You are exposed to the elements. You are at the mercy of the currents. You are at the mercy of the waves, the weather, all of it. You are going to be dehydrated from the sun real fast. There are great stories of people trying to survive on a raft catching birds and drinking their blood as their source of hydration. Hey, in a pinch, you're going to do what you need to do. That's a great white shark. Realistically, it would probably leave you alone, might get a little curious. Look at all this human mess debris. We are such slobs, aren't we? But in a survival situation, you're really excited about that. You can make some portable water stills out of those water bottles in a pinch. This guy is now swimming around with the shark. I mean, I like swimming with sharks, big fan, but in a survival situation, you're like, maybe not the best call. Got himself a rope, that's good. You don't want your rope to break or your raft to float away from you, because then you are stuck and then you're just dead. You're not gonna survive very long just floating in the ocean water. Your skin's gonna prune, and after a couple days, it's just gonna fall off, but you'll be dead by then anyway, so you won't be worried about it. An island emerging out of the mist. Oh, look at this guy. He's building himself like a desal plant there. Good for him. This is the fanciest raft I've ever seen. From what I remember, he builds himself a desk at some point. I'm like, yeah, definitely what you need in a survival situation is a desk. I would get to that island as quickly as possible. Depending on where the island is, there might be a coral atoll around it. You're gonna have to find your way around that. You don't wanna get smashed on the coral. That's not gonna end well for you. He did it. Look at that. He's coming in. Land. I love you. Looks like some plants on this island, possible source of water. The shark's like, I'd like to go too. Don't leave me, friend. Lots of different plants there. Lots of seaweed. Again, seaweed is edible. You can utilize that. Lots of sea plants there. Do you want to be careful with what you consume, whether it's a terrestrial plant or an aquatic plant, because you don't always know what you're getting, so be familiar with what's out there. Hopefully there's some coconuts on this island. Suddenly he has a grill. This is great. I just picture him building that grill out of nothing on a deserted island. And once again, I'm very impressed. Oh, he's gonna fish. This is great. Fishing, best source of protein. Although the shark is probably gonna take your cash. No, he didn't. Look at that. You didn't have to pay the tax man today. Didn't take it. I have friends that have pulled up half a tuna because the sharks got the other half. But they were polite enough to leave you with half. Oh, bicycle handlebars. Made himself a sail out of that. This fancy, ingenious. You really probably could build yourself a pretty amazing raft out of all the debris and trash that is unfortunately floating around in our oceans these days. Okay. Birds. Oh, birds are a sign of land. I mean, there are some birds that fly really far, but you could use birds to signal where land is, especially in the evenings if they're going back to roost. Or if they land on your raft, you can grab them, kill them, and eat them, drink their blood in a non-vampire way, but in a survival way, of course. Do what you need to do. Okay, he's cutting down the coconut palm. I mean, he's already got such a big old raft. I don't know why he needs more wood. I would maybe source the coconuts off of that. Could use the fiber from the coconuts, the husk as tinder. Oh, there's that desk that I was laughing about. I do remember this. Yes, he's gonna pen his story right there and just become on par with the greatest explorers of the world. He's like, I want everyone to know my story. I'm gonna write it now. Okay, he's got his desal. He's got his, that a satellite there? He's like, can I get Netflix on this thing? Fancy. Wow, yeah, okay. I do really love how fancy all these things get. Aquaculture, great. He's got some netting going on. Maybe he's farming some fish that he's bringing with him. That's ingenious and a great way to have fish. Just farm them yourself. You took down a bird. You want to take those feathers for your arrow since you built yourself a bow and arrow. And oh, I think I remember this was like an alpaca, but I recall he didn't shoot it. Oh yes, of course, yes. He has captured it and now he's going to bring it with him because that's what you do onto a super fancy raft. Got your alpaca, you've got your little miniature dodo, you've got this little farming situation going on. Oh, he's gonna plant things on his raft as well. I don't know why you wouldn't stay on the island. I would definitely recommend that. Raft is a good game. It's super fun. Not realistic in the sense that the guy built himself the most amazing raft anyone has ever seen, complete with a desk and I believe a generator that I saw there too. I would say stay on the island, but this guy was like, nah, my raft's really cool. I'm gonna keep going. So Raft, I like that one a lot. I actually would put that one next to Stranded Deep because they are kind of similar. I mean, it's pretty freaking hilarious that that guy built himself a raft with a writing desk. It's very ambitious, but I have a soft spot in my heart for ocean adventures. It's actually really cool how many survival games are out there. Okay. Oh yeah, this was the naked guy. I was playing as a naked man. Put on some pants. There are areas you don't want to sunburn. Oh, this was Naked Man who bashed trees. I definitely remember this. I feel like this game was maybe not of Earth because there were some creatures here that I couldn't identify, and I feel like you can identify most creatures. Water, food, shelter, yeah. Look at me, I'm good, I know what I'm talking about. And he looks like he's kind of by an ocean there. Either he's gonna build himself a raft to get the heck out of there, or he wants to build himself some shelter. Smart, especially if you're naked. You definitely want to protect yourself from the elements. You got a couple hours there before your body temperature is going to start to drop, especially if it's cold and night is falling. He's still naked. Come on, buddy, put on some clothes. Build yourself a fire. You need that heat, definitely. So yeah, so this is an ocean environment. Instead of building a fire, he decided that he is going to take his hatchet and go diving. All right, well, maybe he wants to collect some debris. Again, as someone in the nature world, I don't like trash because we humans have junked up the planet. But as I just said there, trash is your friend. Lots of useful things that you can find. Oh, look at this. Another guy who has built himself a spectacular bed. Getting off the ground is good, especially if you're naked. It's lighting himself a campfire. Maybe don't do that on your bed, especially that looks like it's made out of reeds. Okay, doorway and door frames. Again, wow, overachiever. There's my little lean-to debris hut, and this guy's like, I built myself a bed and a roof and multiple doors. Oh, can't do with just one door. And he has a musical instrument. Yeah, good for him. Okay, well, that is great for the mental aspect of it. No idea where that came from. Maybe it floated by. Rust was a fun game. I probably wouldn't call it one of my favorites, but it's, you know, it's another cool game in a unique environment, and there's naked dude. Probably don't want to be naked in a survival situation, but look, they made a TV show out of it. We're gonna put Naked Man with Long Dark. I like the nostalgia of looking back at the fun games that I've spoken to before. And it's fun to see them in this ranking system too, because when you're doing one individually, you're really just speaking to the survival elements that you can source in that one game. But now looking at them in this order, it really does show me that some games are a lot more realistic in the survival space than others. So to me, Green Hell is the most realistic because I love the jungle environment, and I think that game really spoke to what it could potentially be like being lost there. The Forest, I like it because of the environment, and I think that is one where people would find themselves in a survival situation, and I liked a lot of the elements that I could speak to. Down below that, Stranded Deep, and then Raft. I like those a lot. Even though there were some elements that weren't very realistic, I like the idea of speaking to the ocean survival space because I love it. Plus, that's, you know, people get lost in the ocean a lot. Long Dark, Subnautica, and Rust are fun games. They're cool, definitely elements to speak to in the survival space, but I like them less than some of the other ones. And then Ark Survival, I was like, wow, I don't even know what to say to some of these things. Yeah, sure, you know, maybe fires keep away dinosaurs. We're always learning, always learning. For more Gamology videos, head on over to Facebook and YouTube. For more experts rank, make sure you subscribe to Gamology. So there's my ranking. I'm pretty proud of that, actually. Yes, wait, how do I see the games again? So that was Green Hell. It was green, definitely green. Yay, we did it.